Welcome back to an episode of Soul Sessions. I'm your host, W.A.C, and I'm here with Dean Mira Lowe. Dean Lowe has had a successful career in journalism before becoming our dean at FAMU. She holds a bachelor's degree in television and radio from City University of New York, Brooklyn College, and has a master's degree in journalism from Columbia University. She has experience as an editor at CNN, and she was the first woman to lead the #1 Black news weekly at Jet Magazine. Prior to FAMU, she served as the assistant dean for student experience at UF's College of Journalism and Communications. Now, Dean Lowe is highly respected as the esteemed dean of SJC at FAMU. All right, we're gonna go into our first segment called the hot seat. Hot seat questions are simple questions, but they have to be answered rapidly. Are you ready?
I hope so.
All right. First question, what is a hobby of yours?
Don't judge me, but I like reality TV talent shows.
Talent shows?
Like The Voice, The Masked Singer. I love music, so anything that has to do with music.
Did you grow up around like a musical background or?
I didn't, but my parents played music all the time.
All right. What is one rule that you live by?
The golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
All right. What is the most essential skill for a journalist to have?
I'm not sure I call it a skill, but I would say it's a trait, curiosity, like being able to ask questions and get to the why of every situation.
Yes. All right. This is a funny one. Would you rather be stuck in space or in the ocean?
Space, because I can't swim, so
Hello.
I'm staying away from the water.
That's a little stereotypical.
But it's true.
It's true. All right. And last one. What is the most unexpected place you traveled to for a story?
So I love to travel, so I'm going to say maybe not for a story, but
Yeah.
an unexpected place that I've been to is Egypt.
Ooh, all right. So we're gonna go ahead into our second thing. That was the hot seat. Now I really wanna get to know about your career and how you came to be our dean. So who is Dean Lowe outside of J School?
Good question. So I like to say I am a city girl with Southern roots, meaning I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, so where I went to school. But my parents are from North Carolina, so I spent a lot of time in the South and have an opportunity to kind of split my time between city and country, so to speak. Excuse me. I'm an only child. I'm a public school kid, and so I think coming from Brooklyn, growing up as a city kid, understanding how different communities, living in different communities, kind of shaped my worldview, how I look at and interact with students who come from all over the country. So I enjoyed that experience of kind of bringing that to the forefront of what we do here at SJC.
Yeah, so not only are you just the dean here, you kind of can understand students' circumstances who don't really come from the best areas, and that does affect you as a student, like academically, your experiences back home and everything.
Absolutely.
All right, so why did you choose to study journalism? What drew you to the field?
I like to say I didn't pick journalism, journalism picked me. When I went to school, Brooklyn College, as you mentioned earlier, I went as a pre-med major. I thought I was going to be a doctor because my mother was a nurse. So I thought I was going to try to follow her footsteps in the healthcare field. But I discovered that I was not cut out for some of the classes, and also to this day I cannot look blood. So that was not going to be a field for me, right? So I decided, okay, what should I do or could I do next? And I kind of fell into the student newspaper.
Yeah.
And that's kind of started my interest in journalism. I worked at the student newspaper, the radio station, the TV station, similar to what we do here as students. And that's how I got the bug. Back then, though, I didn't see a whole lot of journalists who looked like me. So I didn't have that role model early on. But I found my way and found people who were doing the things that I love to do, and hopefully students love to do as well.
Yeah, and I just laugh because that's so similar to like me. I started off I wanted to be a doctor, took microbiology, got a D, stopped that, okay? And I realized I love to talk, and I was being blessed to come to FAMU. I met a lot of people like yourself who were like good mentors, and they showed me like that there are people like us in the field and that we can do good in it. So I definitely like resonate with you on that for sure. So what is one of your favorite stories that you wrote?
So one of my favorite stories is when I was at Jet Magazine and I got the opportunity to be a part of the Obama inauguration coverage. So being in DC, watching that whole ceremony, and then being able to watch them do that long walk, the parade walk that they do.
Yeah.
Because I was editor at the time, I was also on the ground helping to amass some of the stories and get some of the color behind the scenes. So that's probably my favorite. It was cold out there though.
Yeah.
But it was a really good story.
But you're a Brooklyn girl.
Yeah, well,
you should be used to it.
Yes, I hear that a lot.
I imagine. I can't do the cold. That's why I'm not moving nowhere up north. Okay. So how did Jet Magazine differentiate itself in the publishing industry during its time? And what do you believe is the legacy of Jet Magazine?
So I don't know if you've heard the phrase, but it says if it wasn't in Jet, it didn't happen.
Yeah.
And so that it really speaks to the purpose of Jet, chronicling the Black experience.
Yeah.
Right? And so I think that was what distinguished them on a weekly basis, having a publication that kind of looked at the Black experience across the country. And we covered stories that were happening, from social issues to entertainment, what's happening in the church, what's happening in the streets, what's happening in the beauty parlors. It was kind of really a community publication that we sought to do. We highlighted beauty, we highlighted Black love, and so it was really an opportunity to showcase on a day-to-day basis what we do, what we feel, how we act, and the, like I said, and the issues that impact our lives.
Yeah, like Jet Magazine, like I said, I remember being a little girl and my mom used to have the magazines in the toilet and I would go in there and read them and see the pretty girls in the bathing suits and just kind of, it's a different experience than reading Teen Magazine where nobody looks like me and there's not that cultural connection, I would say. So I definitely agree with you when you say it was a community thing, that's what made Jet different, for sure. So what role does the editor-in-chief play in shaping the magazine's brand?
So the editor-in-chief really is the chief editorial officer, right? The editor decides what stories are going to get into the magazine, what's going to be, or who's going to be on the cover, what the headlines are going to say. When I was editor at Jet, I had the opportunity to actually rebrand the magazine from maybe in its 50th or 60th year history. It had never had a rebranding. So we kind of wanted to attract a younger audience.
Yes.
And so we really did a comprehensive look at redoing the logo, redoing the color scheme, adding more features, getting new younger voices involved in the content. So that's what pretty much an editor-in-chief does, the overall direction editorially and visually of what that publication looks like.
So I can thank you for me like looking at the girls in the bikinis and be like, oh, I want to be on Jet.
That started way before me, and there's some controversy about that. But
really?
Yeah, some people felt like we shouldn't do that. But
yeah.
John H. Johnson, when he started it, he really wanted to give the Black community an opportunity to see themselves in all their facets, right? And so when you look at other magazines, you never saw us, right, as the beauty, right? And so that was the thinking behind the Jet Beauty for Jet Magazine.
Yes, that was I keep talking about it because I'm telling you that was my favorite thing. All right, so just going to transition into your experience as a dean in education, can you share a little bit of your journey of becoming the dean at SJC?
So I don't know if this is widely known, but the search firm that was looking for the next dean of SJC approached me about a year before I even got to do the interview. And at the time, I wasn't ready to make a move, right? I was in Gainesville at the University of Florida, and I had some things that I needed to accomplish while I was still there. So the first time I was approached, I was said, thank you. I'm honored to be a finalist, or what they call you, a candidate of interest.
Yeah.
But I can't move forward right now. And I look forward to meeting your next dean.
Yeah.
A year later, the firm comes back and says, you're still a highly nominated candidate. Would you be interested in considering or even talking about the position? And I said, okay, now things are different. I'm willing to have that conversation.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, that conversation led to me sitting here talking with you today. So that's how that process worked. It was not something that was on my radar initially, but FAMU, and particularly the School of Journalism, has a wonderful reputation for producing great students for our industry. I know a lot of Rattlers throughout my time, and so the opportunity to come here was really an opportunity that I could not pass up.
Yeah, and I'm just not aware, so what year did you come here?
So I've been here October 22nd this year, made my second year as Dean of the school.
I know that's right, so you just came personally for me, that's what I'm hearing.
Well, that's what I try to make it happen.
That's what I'm hearing. Oh, you are for the black ladies. I don't know, Dean Lowe's for the people. All right, so what would you say FAMU's SJC does to prepare their students, and how do you think we separate ourselves from other journalism programs?
So I love that question because I do think one of the things that distinguishes us is that we're able to give our students hands-on experience walking in the door.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to wait to be an upperclassman to get involved, and I think that is a really cool thing that we do here because it allows freshmen to get acquainted, to be aware of what's happening, and then build upon those skills along the way. So by the time that you guys are seniors, you got it down, right?
Yeah.
The other thing I think we do well here is because of the curriculum, all students do get a chance to work in all those different medias, right?
Yeah.
Newspaper, magazine, TV, radio, which makes you a well-rounded communicator, and that's what employers are looking for.
Yeah, for sure. Now, this question, it's a little.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right, we know you.
Bring it.
Are you ready? Okay,
I'm ready.
We know you see and hear everything that goes on in J School. And although we know we have the best school on the hill, we aren't perfect. With that being said, when you hear students complain about being misadvised, about capstone credits, what are your initial thoughts? And also, how do you think we can fix those complaints made by the students?
So every student complaint that I hear about concerns me,
Yeah.
as a dean, and my immediate reaction is, how can we address it? How can we fix it? Right?
Yeah.
And so, and I don't mind when students share what they're experiencing because I'm here and the rest of the administrators are here to help make sure you have the best experience possible.
Yeah.
So when things aren't going right, we need to know so we can figure out how can we make it better.
Yeah.
So I'm not put off by it at any way. It does sadden me because I want to make sure you guys are having a good time, you know, academically and professionally. And so I really take it to heart and try to figure out what's the root cause or some of the things that you're experiencing that are not good.
Yeah.
And then what are the processes, systems, or things we can put in place to not repeat those things that are happening.
Yeah.
I'm impatient with some of that stuff, but it takes time, right?
Yeah.
Because some of it are things that are beyond the unit's control.
Yep.
So it means getting everybody outside of the unit as well as the unit itself kind of on the same page about how to address some of the issues.
Yeah, and it's hard. I'll say, like, just being on the student end of it, like, I wasn't originally in J School. I was a psychology major before I came in. And this is a big school. And, you know, unfortunately, we only got one advisor. Right. It gets tough, and it does get frustrating. But we do also have to understand that some things are really out of our control.
Right.
So.
And so we're working on that, right?
Yeah.
So what can we do short term and long term? It is my expectation that we will have a second advisor this academic year. We've added an academic coach to kind of help our advisor out, so she's not carrying that load by herself. Like you said, we have close to 500 students in the school. So we really need to make sure that we have the resources to be able to deliver on the promise that we gave to you when you came here.
I know that's right. So J School students, you can breathe a little better knowing that we're trying to get another academic counselor for you. All right, so how do you kind of mentioned a little bit before, but how do you foster a supportive and inclusive environment for students, faculty, and staff within the journalism school?
So I try to be as accessible as I possibly can. I try to be caring and compassionate, and I like engaging with the students. You know, I love saying hi, how's your day going, where are you going, what are you doing? I think that goes a long way when students know that someone, myself and others, care about them and their well-being. So that speaks a lot to the culture that I'm trying to cultivate. Also, being able to bring more resources to just help you guys along, whatever those resources look like. All of you have different needs and different interests, and so being as available as I possibly can to bring those to you, but just kind of really being someone who you can approach.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to be a dean that, oh, I can't talk to her, or I can't approach her.
Yeah.
No, I want to be dean of the people.
Yes. Dean Lowe's for the people. All right, last question. What advice would you give to journalism students who are considering pursuing a career in the field?
One, I'll say we need you. We really need students who look like you in the field. I know students sometimes say, I don't like news, or I don't do news. But it's not about news, it's about having storytellers who can tell the stories of our community, similar to what Jet, right?
Yeah.
There are a lot of things good and not so good that are happening in our communities, and we need people to tell those stories.
Yeah.
So I ask that young students, young people, consider the impact they can have with those stories that they're going to tell. And stories can change lives. It can make a difference if we're telling the right stories in the right way.
Yes. Oh, that was a good way to end it off. All right. We're going to move into our new segment called Essentials, where our guests tell us their daily essentials that they cannot live without and how they impact their lives. So, Dean Lowe, what is one thing that is essential to how you move around?
I'm probably no different than you, right? It's this thing here.
I know that's right.
I don't go anywhere without it. It's like my life is in this phone. It just keeps me on task, from a calendaring perspective. It has my contacts, so if I need to call you, I know how to do that. I read articles on there. I listen to music. So it's like my personal assistant. It does just about everything. So I feel lost, quite frankly, without having my phone, and I have to think about if I left it at home, do I turn around and go get it? That's how bad it is. But I would say that's my one essential for the day.
I know that's right. All right. So now we're going to move into our fourth segment called Hot Take, where we touch on popular topics and events right here on FAMU's campus. Today's topic is Grads Are Back. If you don't know, J-School hosts an annual event called Grads Are Back, where the alumni return to share their career experience and connect with the students. Now let's delve into the event and hear your perspective. Dean Lowe, for our segment, what was one of your favorite events or speakers?
So we did something new this year with Grads Are Back. We did Grads Are Back After Dark. Fireside chat with the dean on the Wednesday before we actually kicked off a full day of programming on the Thursday.
Okay.
And that was probably one of my favorite events. One, because it's new. I always like trying something new.
Yeah.
But two, the speaker, alumna Stacy R. Collins Jackson, who is a Hollywood public relations executive, came back to talk about her experiences here on the Hill, but also in Hollywood, dealing with celebrities, helping to promote some of the biggest films of our time, Wakanda Forever 2, Mudbound, Harriet, Judas and the Messiah. I mean, she's had her hands on a lot of great creative works. So getting her back here to kind of talk a little bit about that journey, I really want to highlight for our PR students someone who looks like them, because that's a conversation she and I had been having about when she was here. She really didn't see anybody that looked like her. And we know how important that is. So that's probably one of my favorite events for Grads Are Back. There were so many. We put on a really strong program this year.
It was like a week full of it was a week program, right?
That's no, it was 2 days, but it felt like a week.
That's what I'm saying, because I swear there was 20 million events. I could have swore I seen about 10 of them. All right. Can you share any notable success stories of journalism graduates from the SJGC program?
So there's so many, and some of them you've heard, right? We like to talk about Kim Godwin, who's ABC president. We like to talk about Tiffany Green, who's first play-by-play African-American woman who does play-by-play at ESPN. But then also we have someone like a Tia Mitchell, who's like political correspondent, and I love when I look up at my TV and I see her talking about what's happening in Washington and what's going to happen in the race. We have just a lot of good younger people coming through our program who are doing amazing things. Elijah Rutland is one of them who came from our graphic design program, and he's blowing up the scene with his art and the things that he's doing. So there's so many to name, but those are the ones that come to mind because they're recent and then they're from the past.
Yeah.
But I would say that they're just the tip of the iceberg because we just have amazing students here who have talent beyond what people know.
Yeah.
And when they get out in the world, they're just going to blow people away.
For sure, for sure. All right. Although this event just happened, do you have anything that you would do for next year grads are back?
So, you know, the alums who came back, they said they loved the fireside chat. So I might have to continue that for next year. One of the other things we did was the colloquium, which was on the Thursday. And we kind of strayed away from being so SJGC centric. We talked about artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
And that was a really interesting conversation about how AI is impacting academics, how it's impacting entertainment, how it's impacting content creation.
Yeah.
So I like to see how we can have more of those timely conversations during a mass school gathering at grads are back next year.
And see, now I'm mad that I didn't go because I'm scared AI gonna take my job. I'm scared. I haven't even got a job yet.
We talked about that.
That's what I'm saying. I haven't even got the job, and I'm scared it's gonna take it. So I definitely would have loved to have been there. I just want to say thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for getting on our soul sessions. That's about it, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, and see you guys next time we come. Bye.